tell me right now, did Ethan Becker send you here? Did he send you to infiltrate my Discord? Ethan, I'm watching you. That's a good boy. Yeah. So because there's a lot of interest for this bird, we've decided to extend the launch time for one more week for you guys, just so you can finish up your Christmas shopping, all right? This is the last and final extension. One more week and he's gone. He's done. Let me show you what I'm about to do. This is a pot. If you don't pick him up in 1 week, this is it. All right, guys, welcome back. Today, we're going to be turning more of your guys' hero characters into villains. We'll be taking some of your guys' traumatized characters and we'll be plucking out their goodness like you pluck out your elongated nose hairs. Anyways, now just before we start drawing, I want you guys to come along with me into our Patreon Discord server where we are going to pick out a couple of OCs for us to victimize. Let's go. We are off to a fantastic start. Look at all this chatter. I said just post a picture. God, this is my OC Fang. She loves Muay Thai and animals. Oh yeah, I know she loves animals. She's got the dogs out. This is a concept I made months ago. It looks really bad and unfinished. Look, Ewok. I don't want you guys talking down on yourselves. It's not bad. It's just stylized. Wow. Okay, so the description reads, here's Navi, like one of those blue avatar people. She's been traumatized by some witches. Yeah, of course she's been traumatized. It wouldn't be an OC without trauma. But I gotta say, I love this character sheet. I really like the stylization and the pink and the green here. It looks fantastic. This is by Josh A. She's a sweet goddess who loves humans and wishes to be one of them. She has a bright and cheerful personality while also being very elegant. Is she like the goddess of fire or something? That's a beautiful design for this character. Nicely done, Josh A. This is my newest OC, Tenshi. So that's a lovely character, but from a glance, I thought these were his arms and that he didn't have hands. If I were to give you a piece of advice, move his hands out of his silhouette so that we can see the hands. It's blending in with the sleeves right now. This is Leon. He's tall and he adores little things. He's good at talking with people and he's a very people person. Look, you guys biting your lips, you gotta calm down. Oh my goodness, this is Stella. Her parents were destroyed by the king and together with her friends, they seek better understanding of her magic. This is very cool. I love these explorations of her costume. I would say that the one that you picked is probably my favorite one as well. Very cool. Jesus Christ. Why is he in the mirror like that? This dude's name is Nam. He's had a hard past. Of course he has. I'm not surprised. But he left all that behind and tries to forget it. He works in an office now, grumpy middle-aged man who eventually meets a young boy that turns his... Nam, how young is this boy? Yeah, I'd like to report a case. This is my OC Myra and she is a pickpocket. Oh, hell no. Attention! Oh my goodness, the news with the attempt to demonetize my video. Stop it. Let me feed my village. Oh my. Here's Tao with his beast companion, Xiao Shu. Little did he know Xiao Shu is part of a giant fox species. Okay, so it grew up to be huge. He stopped writing as he convinced himself to abandon his dreams. But he realizes that the dream keeps coming back to him and he'll never give up on it. What a beautiful story. I love these drawings and these characters are so endearing. Look at that. But as a Chinese speaking person myself, Shu means rat and Hu means fox. So I don't know if you mixed it up, but his name right now is Little Rat. Remy? This is Eve. No, she's not. That's whoop, the cat. Oh, that's the best cat I've ever seen. Oh, man. Oh, delicious. Zane or Test. He's a 23-year-old tech prodigy who strives on making the world a better place by making weapons. How does that work? I never thought I'd hear making the world a better place and weapons in the same sentence. The weapons are specifically melee and designed to fight against other manufactured weapons used for killing. Okay, so he's like the one who makes the weapons to beat the weapons. His parents hold one of the major weapons manufacturing industries and he becomes a vigilante to dismantle it from the inside. Okay, so he's trying to work against the system. This is my OC Coral. Okay, she loves the ocean and a lot of her best friends consist of fish. Me too, Coral. Me too. She wishes to become a marine biologist and save the oceans from dying. Oh man, I love the vibrant color scheme on this character. The tattoo looks sick. I could definitely see her being a compelling villain. Like maybe she goes a little bit overboard with her methods of protecting the ocean. Maybe she finds people who catch fish and she just starts murdering all of them. I mean, it's kind of believable, right? Oh, I love it. Beautiful traditional drawing here. My OC, her name is Nyx. She's bold and she's got a bit of an attitude. Okay, I guess I don't like her that much. Oh, another beautiful man. My OC. He's been poor all his life. He had to work to help with the finances to get food on the table. Life's been rough for him in the streets. But deep down, he's a kind man and always helps people around him. Now he owns a company and never have to worry about money again. He sounds like every K-drama girl's dream. You know, like when the main character is just walking down a flight of stairs and they trip and they fall. And he comes out of nowhere and he catches them. And he's like, oh, I've saved you. And they're like, ah, oh, par. This is Lance. He's very smart when he was young and attracted the interest of scientists to experiment on him. Oh my God. What's with all these scientists being so evil? Okay, you know what, Lance? That's a cool weapon design. I'll give it to you. He doesn't have a name, but is rather called the Untamed. Okay, so he's a wild man. He's living in the middle of a cursed forest. He cannot step outside the cursed forest because he would die and turn into ashes. And many warriors seek his challenge. I don't know if you developed this story yet, but I feel like he would be a really good villain, and the story could be about how he finds a way to not necessarily leave the forest, but he somehow expands the forest. You know, maybe he finds that original cursed tree that spread this curse throughout this forest, takes a branch, he goes, he becomes a living embodiment of this curse, and wherever he walks, the curse follows. And then the people in the villages are like panicking. They're like, yo, dude, stop. That is a beautiful drawing. So nicely stylized and so well simplified. She has trained her body to become an instrument of destruction to fight evil, and her mission is to take out the evil organization that destroyed her father. Oh, wow. Daddy issues. What the heck? This is Bonnie the Banana Guard. Hold on. Bonnie, were you the one who left a banana peel on the ground and tripped Asasuki in our last video? Bonnie, stop smiling at me. I'm serious. God, he's guilty. Luca, you stop it right now. This is Liza. She's part of a dragon. What? More animations, Luca. You just keep knocking it out of the park with the animations. Where'd you learn this? Tell me right now, did Ethan Becker send you here? Did he send you to infiltrate my Discord? Ethan, I'm watching you. This is Jessie. Okay, this is one of my OCs. She's a crime investigator. She's working on a murder right now. But in the process, she meets the killer, who she does not know is the killer. Interesting. Long story short, they start liking each other. Oh, sounds like a TV show. She's one of the most richest and fakest. Okay. So she has around $2 billion in her account. $2 billion. And I'm sorry that I'm terrible at coloring, and sorry that this looks bad. God, stupid kids these days, man. You're always bad-mouthing yourselves, man. This is perfect. I don't see the issue here. All right, guys, so I've made my pick. You guys can throw in your guesses right now of which one I picked, but you probably won't get it. The first character that we got is Jessie. I feel like she's got an interesting story. You know, we could do a little twist with it. All right, so the first thing we got to do is we got to come up with a sketch. So I personally really love the costume design here. She's really giving me like a Victorian England kind of vibe. It might be set in the modern day originally, but I'm going to set this character in the Victorian England. Look, so what gave her away is that she has $2 billion in her account, and there is no way in hell you're gonna get $2 billion from being a crime investigator. Now, I do like the fact that she is in the middle of an investigation and she does meet a killer, so that is in the hero version. Now, in the villain version, she also meets the killer in the mirror. She's an absolute sociopath, and from a very young age, she turned onto a very dark path when her parents were found mysteriously destroyed in their bedroom in their sleep. She was left alone. She was taken to an orphanage, but they couldn't figure out who did the murder. Oh, but it was Jessie. It was Jessie. There was one thing she coveted most above all, and that was money. And at the young age of 10, her parents weren't going to give her all the money that she wanted. So guess what she did? She took it into her own hands to get exactly what she wanted. And that set her on a dark path. She realized that she could do this and get away with it. And with the death of her parents came so much attention from strangers, from people who offered their condolences. And to our little sociopath here, she loved all of the attention. So as she grew up, she found a career that would put her right up there in the spotlight. She became one of Victorian England's best investigators. She always found the perfect person to frame for each and every crime that she committed. And behind the scenes, she had countless accounts in which she would move the victim's money. There was just not a case that she couldn't solve, when in reality, the real criminal behind it this whole time was just the person in the mirror. And if we were to turn this into a story, I think this is where our story would begin, where she takes on apprentices and interns who help her solve these cases. But one day, a young intern finds an oddly suspicious clue, and he follows it down a very dark path. So does our young protagonist intern expose her secret first, or is she gonna turn him into one of her victims like so many who came before? Now, with all of that backstory and all of that lore, here is our sketch of Jessie, the killer. First thing I'm going to do is apply some base colors. I'm just using the default round brush in Procreate. So, you know, the character Jessie, she does have a relatively opulent look. Obviously, she's going to be obsessed with money. And one of the very important main driving factors of her crime spree is this desire for wealth and attention. She'll seek out wealth and attention at every turn and hide in plain sight. So we got a pretty light golden hair here. I'm going to give her a darker dress here, and she is supposed to have quite the opulent look. Let's give give her a red rose here. This is just going to be a placeholder. All right, so there's the base colors for Jessie. Now we're going to start up a new layer. This is going to be our multiply layer for shadows. I think I'm going to go for something a bit more mysterious that kind of tells the story on its own. So the light here almost kind of looks like it's coming through a window of some kind. I think it really suits this character and her story because you're not really seeing the entire character silhouette in light. And essentially what I've done is I've let this shadow here, this top shadow, continue across her face but not illuminate her eyes. This kind of lighting can often convey a sense of mysteriousness, like perhaps there's something to hide. She's not really showing you her full true self, which is definitely the case here. We're gonna give her some nice thick and dark lipstick. Let's add in some shadow details on her back here so it looks like it's catching the light. Okay, that looks very good. So I'm gonna just merge that layer down and merge this multiply layer down. Now flipping this canvas back around, time to add in a little bit more detail and add in some more variation here. So I'm gonna make the darks a little bit darker, make the lights a little bit lighter. Usually I like to start off with only 2 tones for the shadow and the light because it keeps things really simple for me, and then I can work outwards from that. We're gonna get her some bounce light here on her lower back, just like that. All right, so now moving on to the alternate personality in the mirror. You're gonna make it really creepy. Look, if you guys want a good way to make your character look absolutely deranged, just make the eyes huge and make the irises tiny. They'll look like they're ready to destroy you and your whole family. Imagine if you were the intern investigator, and you walk in on her and this is what you see. I would give up at that point. I would just accept my fate. All right, what if I make the irises all black? Just all black, or maybe huge dilated pupil. That's scary. What a charming face. So we're gonna just take a darker color here, glaze it over so it looks like it's being viewed at from behind a glass. There we go. All right, this is gonna give me nightmares. I'm gonna just move that off the screen here. I'm gonna add a little bit more detail here to her jewelry just to make it pop. Switching over to a 6B pencil now, we're gonna start adding some more kind of smaller touches to the silhouette of the character. I think honestly one of the best things you can do when you're designing a character is to just keep their story in mind. Let some of their story elements drive the way you draw your character, because you can definitely use their story to make their designs a little bit more purposeful, and it will also give them a little bit more depth. Now taking my round brush again, we're gonna add in some color variation between the light and the shadow, just getting in some bounce light here on the underside of her eyebrows to create a more mysterious look. Adding some more decorative elements here onto the mirror. Again, we're just finishing off with some smaller details here. Add some highlights to her hair, and I like to use the round brush for this, you know, just thinking in terms of big shapes and not necessarily individual small strands. Let's get some detail in here and flesh out these curly shapes a little bit more. A little bit of line art around the edges, just like so. God, that is creepy. Okay, new layer, and I'm gonna add some final touches of blood. This is your POV when you walk in on one of her crime scenes, and unfortunately, you'll probably never be heard from again. This is the end. Let's get some smears, some splatters here, just like that. It's abstract, it's not too detailed, it's stylized. You know, this mirror might be one of her trademark items. Maybe sometimes she'll commit a crime and just bring it right up and consult her alternate personality about what to do next. Oh, what have I done? All right, guys, so there's our first character, Jessie, turned into a villain. She's fully ready to destroy you and your whole family for some money and attention. Horrible, horrible. Now let's move on to our second villain, and it's gonna be Zane, the man who makes weapons in a steampunk world. First things first, we gotta come up with a sketch and a bit of a backstory for the villain version of this character. So in the original story here, he's very much intertwined in the world of weapons and manufacturing, but instead of just making destructive weapons to end other people, he chose to make weapons that actually destroy other weapons. He wants to foster world peace. He's a nice guy. But y'all know what happens. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and that's exactly what happened to him. Original Zane's like 23 years old, but here he's older. He is in his mid-30s. And so much has happened in the last decade. So much has changed, but not his hair, because I really like his hair. We're gonna keep it the same. Just bigger. So young Zane's, you know, working his way up in the industry. He has his own arms manufacturer, and he's using his power and influence for good. He's trying to make weapons that stop other weapons instead of other people. In this violent steampunk universe, he's trying to put an end to all of the wars. And through his incredible efforts and many successes, he even convinces his parents to join the cause. So as one big powerful family, they start working together towards a brighter future for the world. Now you're probably wondering, that sounds like an absolutely great story. It's a happy ending. Where is the villain part? Well, his family got blown up. They went all over the walls. See, what happened was him and his family, they were invited to attend a weapons manufacturing conference. And the many other weapons manufacturers in this world were there to hear them out. They told them, hey, we see your success in this industry. We are open to your new ideas, and we want to invite you to share your innovations with us so that we can all move towards a brighter future. His parents had their suspicions. They didn't want to go to this, but Zane, being young and naive, decided that this was an opportunity that he cannot pass up. Seeing how determined their son was to prove himself on the world stage, his parents decided to accompany him to this event. And of course, they were ambushed, they were destroyed, they were turned into little pieces on the wall, and with the help of his loyal bodyguards, Zane was the only member of his family to make it out alive. And he lost his left arm in the process. After this traumatic event, he realized the fault in his ways. He realized that he was far too naive and far too forgiving. So all the goodness in this man was overcome by grief and anger, as he turned his body into a weapon and outfitted his troops with some of the most advanced weaponry so that he can seek revenge. And one by one, he destroyed his enemies. He became the most powerful arms manufacturer in the world with an army behind him. And because of all these terrible events, he has become exactly what he once promised he'll never be. Alright guys, so after editing out some of my pain, I've landed on a final draft of Zane that I really like. So I just slightly altered the pose and the composition here in this final draft. You know, this gauntlet has in a way become a constant reminder to him of the price that you pay for weakness. And I've also come up here to add some of these horn-like elements on his head. These are going to be metal pieces that he used to help heal his wounds and reinforce his body. So now we're going to move on to colors. Once again, using a basic round brush, I'm just going to fill this base layer in with our skin tone. So in my version of this story, he's been aged quite a bit. He's been really just weathered by war and violence, and I want to show that in this character's color scheme and design. So we'll keep this grayish color scheme for most of his outfit, but for his arm, I think I do want it to be a gold. So let's get a nice, rich, brassy gold color here, just like that. Beautiful. So of course, he has grown out a beard since when he was 23 and young, and we're gonna give him some gray streaks in the beard. All right, just having a look, flipping this around, that looks pretty good. Now let's add in our shadows. So this gauntlet is going to be pretty complex, and it's going to require a little bit more rendering from us. There we go. Now let's add some shadows under his brow ridge, under the nose, a little bit under the upper lip and the lower lip as well. All right, look at that. I've merged the layer down. Let's start adding some details. Okay, so we're going to start off with the eyes. He's got very vibrant green eyes, and I definitely do want to accentuate that here. Boom! Oh my goodness, that is scary. That's woo. Usually on darker skin, you're going to see more reflected light, so I'm going to try to add that in here. So we're going to add some gold onto these metal parts on his face here, and to kind of showcase this merging of man and machine. You know, you really got to think twice before you try to blow up a prodigy. You know, you gotta make sure to finish the job because he's gonna come back strong and evil. I do love these silver decorative elements in his hair, so I'm gonna add that in real quick. Very nice. Let's add a bit more here. Get some highlights on there. Boom, just like that. Some highlights right there, a little bit right there. Oh yeah, that looks delicious. Absolutely delicious. Now let's move our attention down a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna add a white collar here. And just beneath that, we've got this big shiny metal arm. And this is gonna be fun to render. So first off, let's add on some highlights, some bright spots. We're gonna make it look really nice and metallic. Now I'm gonna come down here, add on some detailing for his clothing. Not too much though, because I want the focal point to be obviously this giant metal arm of his. You know, it's just one of those things that really defines a villain. For him, it's this big metal arm. It's a reminder of his failures in the past. And it's one of the worst prices that he paid for being so optimistic and naive. So I'm just coming in here, adding a little bit of shadows. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I definitely do want to convey the three-dimensional form of all of these metallic plates. There's got to be a certain type of elegance to it, but at the same time, it's got to look heavy and industrial. You know, unlike some of the previous villains that we've done, Zane definitely means business. He's not here to mess around. If you so much as look at him the wrong way, he'll pound you into the ground. And it really is a tragic story. I mean, this guy's just essentially become the one thing in this world that he vowed never to become. So I'm coming into the seams here and just adding in some of these shadow elements, as you can see. And usually when you find a sharp edge like this for a metallic piece, you're going to find some highlights on the edge. There we go, adding a little bit of highlights here, a little bit of bounce light on the bottom side like so. Get a little bit more right there and right there. Let's get some separation between these finger joints like so. Get some separation in more of these plates, adding a little bit more complexity. So what I'm doing here is I'm allowing this arm to kind of reflect the aesthetic of the world that I think he'll inhabit, which is obviously going to be steam steampunky, so it's gonna feel like quite techy, but also at the same time really retro. And these 3 blades down here, this is his meat grinder. And there we go, guys. There's our second villain, Zane. He is one of the most dangerous, the most vicious warlords in this entire world. And he's a leader of many mega factories that produce some of the most high-tech and deadly weapons. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know which villain is your guys' favorite. Is it the more low-key and cunning style of Jesse, or do you prefer the absolute brutality of Zane? If you guys want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you guys want to learn how to draw characters and use shapes for your anatomy, head over to my Patreon for our December tutorial. And with all that being said, thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Oh, sitting is not good for you guys. Look, if you're sitting right now, stop it. Stop it. Get up. Go somewhere. Come on. Get off of your phone. Get off of your computer. Get off of your iPad. Stop it. Don't be like me. Don't be like me, guys. Don't.